Hello, welcome to Conway Video. In this video, I want to talk about a very simple idea that I've had over time, but that I found to be really powerful and really useful, and it does seem to really work a lot of the time. And so this is for when I want to build trust with people, which is probably most of the time, right? I think I'm in a better position most of the time in the workplace when people trust me on whatever level they need to trust me. Obviously, uh, someone doesn't need to trust me as much as they might need to trust someone else, but there's a certain level to which I think everyone in the workplace has to have some trust for each other, right down to the very basics. You trust that someone's not going to, like, I don't know, hit you or take your money or something when you come into work, right? Those are very base level things that we trust. Or we trust that someone's not going to come into work naked or something like that. So there are some basic kind of levels on which pretty much everyone trusts each other. But then obviously you build up and you build up. So there are probably more deeper levels of trust where you trust that someone is going to help you, or you trust that someone's going to give you the accurate information to the best of their ability. You trust that someone is intends the best for the team that you work in, for the company, and so on. So I do think these levels of trust can build up, and it builds up all the way to, I guess, the C-suite and the CEO, where there's an enormous amount of trust placed in that person that they can actually steer the ship and run the show and so on. So so with trust, well, so a lot of the time I do want people to trust me, right? I mean, there are people who would say it's better to be feared than to be loved, but I don't necessarily agree with that. I think it's much better to be loved and valued and trusted. There's one thing that I often want to do if I'm looking to build trust with my coworkers, with the people around me, with management, with whoever. And that is, it's a very simple principle, but it's a powerful one. And the principle is this: that what I say to the person should be the same or equivalent to what I do, to how I act, or consistent is probably the better word. How my words and my actions should be consistent, at least as far as that person is concerned. I mean, okay, look, I might say that I'm on a diet, and then the next day I go and eat at McDonald's and get an ice cream cone from McDonald's or something. Like, okay, that's probably like a small, more trivial example where it's not such a big deal that my words are out of line with my actions, and maybe we even have a laugh about it. But when it comes to more serious things, like what tasks I actually do at work, what sort of things I focus on, or anything really that I'm communicating and that people are seeing me do and stuff, I want what I say and what I preach and what I talk about to be consistent with what I do. If I can maintain that consistency between what I say and what I do, especially over time, this isn't going to work immediately. It's not going to work the first few days, but I find if I do that over a long period of time, over weeks, over months, that's how I guess I tend to get a reputation. People tend to think of me in a certain way. And that reputation, it's not such a binary black and white thing. I think we often think of reputation as being you either have a good reputation or a bad reputation. You're either a good colleague or a bad colleague. You're either a good manager or a bad manager. I don't see it that way. I think it's more complicated. I think the way it really is or more subtle than that. It's that we specialize. Different people do different things in a workplace. Someone is the chatty person, right? Someone is the initiative person. They kick something off. Someone is the person maybe who focuses on a particular kind of coding or programming. So people take on, and not just one thing, like sometimes people are doing multiple different things at once. And so that reputation is actually, I think it's a more rich idea than just binary, good reputation, bad reputation. What it really is it's a rich set of skills and capabilities that people around you will see you performing. And so the way that you build trust that you are that sort of person, or that have that sort of those skills, is that you talk about them and you use them. So you talk about doing something and you do that thing. So you don't talk about X but then spend the whole day doing Y, right? You talk about X and then you actually do X. So if you're for example, you really want to be writing tests. That's your thing. That's something you want to focus on. It's one of the things you want to focus on. Maybe not the only thing. As I said, there can be lots of different things. But one thing you want to do is you want to be the person in the company who writes tests. Okay. So what do? You can talk about writing tests. That's good. And you can also write the tests. And people's other programmers or whatever, they see the tests coming up. Then you've got people's confidence, because you're not just saying something, but then going off and maybe doing goodness knows what else. You're saying it and you're doing it. See, if you just say that you're going to do something and you don't do it, I think people get the idea that you want to be known for something, or you want to put in the idea of something, but they then get a bit skeptical whether you're actually serious about it because they see that you're not actually doing it. Or if you say like, maybe you say, I would like to see better, I don't know, better tasks in the task tracking system. I want the tasks to be written in a nicer, cleaner way so that we can understand what we're working on. But then you go ahead and just do nothing about that, and you never help, you never like look at the task, you never do anything. Well, then what do those words mean? They're just empty words. You're just saying, I just wish X was the case, but you're not actually doing anything. You're not making any effort to make X be the case. Whereas if you go in and say, I wanted this, I want this task to be more nicely written, and then you see someone writing a task and you say, hey, come over to their desk and say, hey, can I help you? I'd like this task to be better. Then you're acting. That's a whole different thing. Now this person thinks, oh, Jonathan's actually serious about what he said. He's not just talking, or he's not just complaining. He actually does want this to really happen. And that's tremendous. And it can be such a small thing. It doesn't have to be that you go and completely fix every task in the whole system. You could just make one task, just pick one task in the task tracker and just make it just a little bit better. Just add like one sentence or one line of text. It can just be something tiny, but at least that tiny thing, it's an action. It's something that you did. It's an activity. It's an effort. And so other people are going to see that action, that activity, that effort, and they're in their minds, right? They might not even say anything to you, but in their minds, they're going to be like, oh, that person actually did that. They followed up. They really did it. And then that's such a powerful thing, because then they think, he really cares about that. Like, he's not just saying he cares about that. He really cares about it. So that's, to me, that's a brilliant thing. And then, of course, there are advantages to that. Obviously, it's not an advantage if you're becoming known for something that you don't want to be doing at work. So, you might not want to be known as the person who gets everyone coffee, right? You want people to get their own coffee. But that's where you can be very careful about what you choose to work on. But if you choose to work on the right things and then you make your actions consistent with your words, I think that people really do notice that. People pay a lot of attention to that. And even if it's small, it has I would say it has what's the word? It's like a disproportionate or an oversized benefit compared to the effort you put in. I found that you can put in like this much effort, trying to use gestures here, but yeah, this much effort into talking about something, and you'll get maybe this much return on that effort. But you can put in this much effort on actually doing something, and you get like this much attention, right? People just notice so much more when you do something than when you just say something, because anyone can say, anyone can talk, anyone can promise, that's the easiest thing to do. That's the low-hanging fruit. The more difficult thing is to act, but it doesn't have to be difficult. You can break it down. You can choose something small to act on, and it's also like a symbol. It's a symbol of trust. It's a symbol that, hey, I'm going to take the risk of doing this thing. I'm not just going to say it, because that's the other thing. When you just talk, when you say things, people might think you're talking with an agenda. They might think, oh, he's just saying that because he wants me to believe X, right? He's talking about X, and X matters, and I want X. He just wants us to believe X, or to believe that he wants X. But whereas when you actually do X, then people trust you. They think he actually really does want X. Like, he's not just talking about it. He's not just saying it to, I don't know, sound professional, sound smart, or appeal to management or whatever it is. He's saying it, and then he's actually doing it because he really does want it to happen. That's, to me, like that's just a really big discovery for me, and it's something I think I subconsciously started to pick it up over time, and I saw other people using this skill, but I never really thought about it explicitly. But when I do think about it more explicitly, it's a very simple rule, but I think it's a very powerful one. I do want to do another video later on about the idea of effort and action being things that are scarce and therefore valuable and therefore worth biasing towards. But that's probably a topic better left for another video, because I've already consumed just about 10 minutes of your time with this video. But yeah, that's about all I have to say about that. But yeah, that's keeping words and actions in line. I think that's a really good policy to adopt generally. And then I should do another video probably about choosing what to do, because that's probably an important thing too. Like, you don't want to be known as the person who gets everyone coffee, or maybe you do. Maybe that's your thing, but you might want to be to be choosy and picky about what you work on so that you can enhance your career and advance your own career goals, your own personal growth goals. And I think most companies and organizations are very supportive of that if it's done in a way that aligns with what you were hired for and what the company's trying to do and the team's trying to do. If you can find a way to use that skill that you want to develop to develop that skill in a way that moves the business forward, a lot of businesses are very receptive to that in my experience. Anyway, that's all I've got for this video. Thanks for watching.